Right. Start by just making yourself comfortable in your chair. We want to try and find a posture that is upright but not strained. And it's an interesting sort of combination. Just for the moment, just sitting comfortably. We'll go into the details of the posture and what that kind of means when we've warmed up a little bit. So, to start off with, just rubbing your hands together and then tapping over your face. Over your head and neck. Down to one shoulder, your arm. And then on the other side. And the upper part of the chest. Down to your belly. And then your legs. And just going through, excuse me, going through some of the parts of your upper body, starting with your neck and shoulders, just turning your head gently, looking to just generate a smooth movement, as though your neck were being very gently massaged, so not straining the movement, even if that means a very small movement. We're trying to sort of wake the energy up in the body, to revitalise the energy. One of the conditions that is often described in Chinese medicine is the term stagnation, which I think is quite a good label. So sometimes you can feel kind of stagnant. And I think this is a time of year that can really kind of feel like that. And, dark skies, short days, and so on and so forth. It's that kind of post-Christmas feeling. Then hands in front of your shoulders and circling around, nice and easy and gently. I came across a lovely phrase in one book on these arts. It said quite simply, a moving river doesn't stagnate. So what we have is the possibility that through these movements, we can just begin to sort of in a way liven ourselves up. Perhaps liven up is a bad choice of word, but just revitalise ourselves a little bit. And then going forward. And we're not talking about going on a kind of 10-mile walk or something like that. It's a very gentle, nurturing process. This is one of the benefits of the art, I feel, that it's a little bit beyond the kind of when your Tai Chi can be used for this, that, or the other. Important though that can be. Your hands drop down to your sides. Just rotate, just moving as far as you're comfortable, not straining for the movement, but with an intention just to generate a comfortable movement, a flow. Those of you who have been doing this for a while, you might well have kind of sort of goals and aims. There's nothing wrong with that. This might not be the time to seek to fulfil them. Just coming away from a practice session, feeling a little bit calmer. In that sense, that I described as revitalised, rejuvenated, is itself really important for our well-being. And raise your hands up and just wind around, as though you're winding up string or thread. And then back the other way. Before we go into the next the weight changing exercise, just a little um, subtlety of the posture. As I said, what you want to try and do is to just gently draw your chin back. Sometimes we talk about the chin tucking in, but it's not a downward movement. I exaggerate here, and I am exaggerating. You pull back. You pull back, and that just rotates your head a little bit. And this ridge of bone at the back of the skull, the occipital ridge, just lifts a little bit. And the crown of your head, the very top of your head, the fontanelle in babies, comes to the very top of your body. So there's a slight kind of upward quality there. And when we put that together with what happened in our hips, we come back to this very open posture, which is unstrained. So now, trying to just gently maintain that, roll your weight forwards, tilt your pelvis forwards so your weight goes into your feet, and your legs being slightly compressed, and then pushing down, and feel your hips dropping back. So the combination of the push from your feet, of allowing gravity to pull your hips downwards, which pulls your pelvis back up, and that slight lift through the occipital ridge can lead us into this aspect of the posture, particularly for the upper part of the body, that is very open, very spacious, supported by your legs, your hips, your back, your skeleton, your spine and ribs, and just has the potential for a nice sort of open energy. It doesn't require us to sort of clench and grip our teeth and push hard. So we start to get that sense of movement in the body. Remembering, a moving river doesn't stagnate. Sense almost of your head floating up, but your hips sinking down. So a gentle opening through your spine. One of the ways of looking at the energetic qualities in the body is to sort of have different aspects of the energy located in different places. And in the upper part of the body, in the head, strongly related to this crown of the head point, is what's sometimes referred to as the Shen. Spirit is a translation of that. A sense of allowing your spirit to just raise gently, not forcing it up, not a kind of forced jollity, but just this, oh yeah, a nice open expansion. And one that is more realistically sustainable. If you have to strain for this, then you're not going to be able to maintain it. But since a great deal of it comes through this releasing in our hips and simply allowing the body to come into line, then it's not that it's easy. You're still working physically and in the mind and so on and so forth. But it becomes more sustainable. And we can sustain this all the way through. When we tilt forwards like this, we've still got that downward movement through the hips and that extension through the head and the crown of the head. Some people like to imagine that they're kind of suspended, they're hanging from the crown of the head, like they're attached to the ceiling from a cord. I have to say that's not an image that works terribly well for me, but it's looking at that same quality. So if that works for you, that's fine. Now, turn just a little bit, going forwards. Not all images will work for us. And it's always important to remember, it's not a failure if an image doesn't work for you. It's just not the right image at this time. And then in the other direction. And around. As always, I like the term cultivation and this sense of raising the spirit, encouraging this development of the Shen. It's cultivated, not kind of constructed, shall we say. And then back the other way. Coming back and stepping out, planting your foot, pressing gently into the floor, pulling back. So it's heel and the ball of the foot and that gentle press down. Your weight following. You may even find as you go forwards here that your spine kind of extends out a little bit. Almost as though your spine and your back were being very gently massaged, a kind of pulsing quality to the movement. Changing sides. First of all, an empty step. And then transferring your weight. And alternating from side to side. So that little shift across. Okay. So we can begin to just gently cultivate and nurture this more open posture. It isn't strained, but has a slightly more kind of vibrant quality, perhaps less stagnant quality. And again, I'm not talking about kind of forcing that feeling on us, but just beginning to experience that a little bit more in our bodies and go through the different exercises with an intention to sort of, again, to cultivate that, to spread that through a little. That raising of the spirit, shall we say, the release of the stagnation. So letting your arms drop to your sides, turning your hands palm forwards. Bird folds its wings, just feeling the rotation in your shoulders as you go forwards and backwards. And with that, very gentle opening and closing, expansion and contraction across your chest. And the opposite way round. And your upper back. Always taking a moment when you go forwards to let yourself settle into your feet. On your back, let your hips sink into the chair. And then fisherman castanet, so palms of your hands facing back. Going forwards, feeling your arms drawn through by your shoulders and back in the same way. A nice smooth, fluid movement through your arms, rising up from the feet and your hips, through your back, down through your arms to your fingers. And this time, leaving your arms out in front as you come back so they get drawn up a little bit, feeling that expansion up through your belly, into your chest, let your elbows drop as though you're rolling a ball in towards your chest, all the way down. So not straining to lift your arms, it's more of a pull on your arms. They'll come up quite naturally and then your elbows drop in. This time, as your arms come up, turn the hands palm in and gently draw your elbows apart. And again, it's a lovely sense of expansion across your chest and then across your back as you go forward. Pigeon spreads its wings. This is not straining in chest. Again, not forcing the movement, cultivating the movement, nurturing the movement is a better way of thinking of these things. Just going to as far as you're comfortable moving. Maybe finding that your breathing begins to synchronize with the movement. You may find it does that for a little while and then maybe you have to take an extra breath. But whether that happens or not, just perhaps noting the freshness of your in-breath every now and then. This is likened to the spring mist. Lovely image, sharp and refreshing. The out-breath likened to the autumn fog, a bit kind of grey and dreary. So once again, this potential for a kind of change in state, change in feel. And then hands in front of you, drawing back. The hips sink into the chair, knees forward. Remember that lengthening through your back and your spine. not holding your back and spine rigid. Just appreciating there are these gentle curves through the spine. And I think very few people have a spine that is completely free from the little discontinuity there. Again, chest expands a little bit here and contracts, and that contributes to the movement. One more time. And then sitting back and combining it with the step in, extend one foot, plant the foot, going forwards, hips dropping back. That sense of a forward movement, an upward movement through the back of your head, or works cord attached to the crown of your head. Just a general lengthening out that extends through your arms into your hands and your fingers. That simple step, it's quite a short step out, but just encourages an extension in the range of your movement. Again, not strained, not forced. One more on each side. And then coming back, roll your fingers into a hollow fist. And your arms rotating. Just reminding yourself that feeling of releasing in the body could easily be applied to this idea of just releasing that sense of stagnation. This is not talking about a false jollity or anything like that. Not the expectation that we suddenly have boundless energy or something like that. This is a time of year it's quite natural to feel a bit tired, not necessarily wanting to do that much, but just that sense again of the releasing of the stagnation, the allowing the sense of that rising spirit. Open your fingers, winding out again, chest opening, shoulders rotating, and pressing forwards. Coming back this time, turning your hands palm down, polishing the table, you turn, easing forwards again, hips sinking back, lengthening through spine, back, arms and fingers, swinging around and back in. Turn the other way, following this rhythm of extension, yang, contraction, yin. One more time. Come back, resting for a moment in this posture, slightly longer, broader feeling in the back and spine and in the front of the body, allowing the rib cage to drop. Just allowing the sense of just releasing in your belly and your chest. Feeling that dropping of your centre of gravity downwards. Pressure in the soles of your feet and in hips and buttocks. And then from that, as you sink down, just feel the counter movement, the sense of that rising movement, that rising energy coming up through your back. So I'm exaggerating now. Maybe you can see a head going up and down. You shouldn't be able to see it. I'm overdoing this. It's almost as though what you're doing is it's a gentle push down through your feet and your hips, and it's as though you're going to stand up. That kind of feel, only it's much more subtle than that. It's an internal feeling, giving you this feeling of a movement, like a wave coming up and filling the upper body, and then just straining away and kind of washing away the tightness, washing away the stiffness in the body. And then bringing your arms around so you're cradling the ball. That same way, pushing your arms up and then pressing down. This is called rooting down. And the upward movement is an outcome of that downward movement, that connection to the ground. Remembering just that gentle movement in your head, drawing your chin back, giving you that slight uplift through the back of your head. Now, rotating your arms so things point away from your body. Wild goose. Again, that sense of a movement rising up through your back, through your belly, your solar plexus, chest. This time, as your hands drop down, easing forward, so your hands swing in front of your knees. Sit back into your hips, and that same push up this time, your arms coming out, drawn around by your elbows, heart in the clouds. . Your hands drop straight down, feeling your hips, your pelvis sinking into the chair, and then with that next feeling of an upward movement, focusing on one side, pushing your arm up, dragon plucks the stars from the sky. Wind around, contracting through that side of your body, so drawing your arm all the way down, bring your attention back again to your center, and then the next expansion, focusing on the opposite side. Not rushing from side to side, hence that focusing of attention into the center of the body, and from there down into the ground. One more on each side. Bringing both hands in, lightly touching the side of your center now, and then again gently lengthening through your back, expanding, contracting, bringing your hands and your arms all the way in until again you can just lightly touch the side of the center of your body and push it out. This time as you push out, turn just a little, feeling the arms redirected by that movement from the center, coming back, turning the other direction, expanding and contracting, then facing forwards, and again expanding, yang, contracting. Start the cycle over again. Now, as you push out this time, once again extending one foot, but rest on the heel, with the knee slightly bent. Turn your hands palm forwards, easing forwards. Again, gently lengthening through the back and spine, letting your hips drop back, feeling your shoulders drawn up, expanding in the front of your body. So this is scooping the sea, looking at the sky. Just be careful with this one. Don't strain to lift your head. Remember that feeling of opening. And I won't call it effortless, but it's a different type of effort. We want to let the hips drop back. We want to feel the contraction in the spine, the expansion in the front of the body. And then finally, we want to feel that alignment of our head, a slight lift through the occipital ridge, or through the crown of your head, depending on what works for you best. Your hands drop down, roll into a hollow fist, grasping the tiger's ears. Change sides. Scooping the sea. Looking at the sky. It does have a lovely sort of expansive quality about it. But it's important not to, again, not to struggle, not to strain for that. It's self-defeating to stiffen up, to strain. It doesn't give us that sense of an open, energetic environment within the body. Grasping the tiger's ears. And now, tilting forwards and backwards again. This time, turning alternately to one side and another. So going forwards into your left foot, back to the centre, turn towards the right, forwards, moving towards your right foot, and then back to the centre. Hands again lightly touching your sides, noticing how they follow the movement. And as you come into your left, that movement, pushing your right hand up, hitting the ball in front of the shoulder. Turn the hand palm down, coming back, drawing your hand in, and then forwards into the right foot, expanding through the left side of the body. Both hands turn at this point, left hand palm down, right hand palm. So again, both hands turn. One more on each side. Now, your arms just spread out a little bit. Same kind of idea, but as you start to go forward into the left, maybe turning just a little bit more. Your arms come up, back down into the centre. Your arms sweeping across your legs, and then into the right. It's cow gazes at the moon. So with this one of the things that we can do is to look through the hands. You imagine the moon over there somewhere, and you look up towards it. And this too is said to have an influence on the Shen. The eyes are very connected with that aspect of the energy. Some people like to go a little bit further. If this is comfortable for you, but not straining, maybe just releasing a bit more in your back so that the moon appears to be over there somewhere, not too far there, but just it should feel comfortable. And rather than thinking of the physical, I've got to stretch kind of approach, just think in terms of what's happening within your body. Is this actually helping the sort of development of a gentle, vibrant quality of movement within the body? One more on each side. And then come back and sit. A couple of slow, gentle breaths. Rubbing your hands together again. And tapping over your face. Another good exercise for releasing that sort of tired, stagnant feel. And again, there's nothing wrong with feeling genuinely tired at this, especially, these short days, over your head and neck. Down to one shoulder. Quality that we're trying to move away from here is stagnation. Onto the other side. Upper part of the chest. Your belly. And your legs. Push your heels up. And then circle it around. And back the other way. Okay, now standing. Going back to that thing about tiredness, you may find at the end of a session like this that you do actually feel tired. It's quite normal to feel tired. There's a difference between that and that feeling of being kind of stuck, being droopy kind of thing. So, thinking about this standing posture, reproducing the qualities that we found in the sitting. Your feet directly below your hips, hip width apart, toes pointing forwards or just slightly turned out, and bring in I'm going to exaggerate this so that you can see the mechanics of it. You bring your weight a little bit forwards. It's only really to just over half your weight, 70% of your weight in the front half of your feet. If I go a little bit further, you can see what it's doing. It's actually angling my body. What we often do to counter this sense is this. We pull back, but that tightens everything up. What we want to do, going back to what we felt in the chair when the hips drop down, we just let the hips drop, yield to the pull of gravity, and what happens is our pelvis levels off, and that brings us back to the upright position. And there's a dropping down through our hips. And at the same time, that same thing with the head, that gentle drawing in. So we now have this downward movement as though somebody's hung a weight from the bottom of your spine, and a gentle upward movement, just opening the back, just extending the back a little bit. And then letting your hips drop down, bringing your hands around as though you're cradling the ball, body expanding and contracting. And that lengthening, that opening in your back and spine allows for the transmission of that movement that comes from the sinking of your hips, the push up from the ground, to just enter the upper body, expand through the upper body. And then letting your hands drop down, going into the standing version of the Wild Goose. And part in the clouds. One more time. Shake out. Keeping the width of your step. Turn one foot out, step forward with the other. The dimension of the stance match the width of your hips, roughly square. Maybe a little bit longer, but not too long. And once again, transferring your weight. Maintaining this upper part of the body, sometimes described as having a regal quality about it. You're not forcing yourself up. It's not like you're standing to attention, but just this very open quality. One of the images that we often use in Tai Chi is of a tree. The tree puts down the roots, and it's that rooting down that allows for the branches to grow out and to spread. So it's important to keep that sense of rooting down. So I'm not sort of doing this all the time. If you do that, you just get into a struggle, into a fight with the pull of gravity that you're going to lose. But sinking down, and here, if I do this and I'm leaning forwards, it can all get a bit kind of stuck. But if I just let my hips drop down, notice how my head comes up. I'm not pulling my head up, and sooner or later, probably sooner, then I'll lose that. But rather working with the natural structures of your body and just looking to change how we're responding principally to the pull of gravity. And learning to move with that, not just in a static posture, but from one foot to another. And always a good idea to take a moment as you land in each foot just to come back to that. We'd probably lose it in the transition. So there's just that moment of settling in, and that moment when your attention goes back into the feet, and that calmer quality in the mind, strongly associated, a part of this whole process. Raising your toes and your heel means that you can begin to get more of your weight in line with one leg. And then stepping in. The other side. Same thing, first of all, fixed step. So when we practice this exercise and we have to transfer the weight, we begin to open up the possibility that we can cultivate this open posture, this more energized, more, what I describe as a way of more vibrant posture in our daily activities. And again, this is not a forced vibrancy. This is not a kind of not strained. It's cultivated. Raising your toes and your heel. Stepping in. Then take a few steps through, forwards or backwards, depending where you have the space. And then change the direction. Have your right foot forward, so mirror my movements, starting with your weight in your back foot, arms by your sides. Move forwards as you settle into the front foot, turn, feel your body expanding, pushing your arms away from the sides of your body. This is wind blows the willows. Coming back, letting your hands drop down, settle into your back, turn, expand out. I mentioned the image of the tree putting down its roots and its branches spreading out. So of course, the willow tree is a common image used in these arts. Don't overdo the movement with your arms. Just let the expansion of your body push your arms away, not strain into lift them. Good, and then with your other foot forwards, again starting in your back foot, you go forwards. It's the sinking down in the front foot that produces this push upwards that pushes your arms out. It's your back foot. And then combining that with the stepping, so either forwards or backwards again, this is dragonfly skims the water. Step through, plant the foot, and having taken a couple of steps, if it's going to be comfortable for you, raising the leg as well. But don't stiffen, don't strain. And then going back. And bringing your feet back. Lovely. Go back to your chairs. So again, just sitting, hips dropping back, that slight lift through the back of your head. If you can draw your chin in, letting your arms drop down. And to close the session, as always, embrace tiger, return to mountain. Again, your arms pushing out, coming around as though you're going to hold a ball against your chest, drawing in and a kind of emptying, feeling. As your hands drop down, you're very settled, but still with that very open quality in the upper part of the body. One more time. And rest. And just open your eyes. Lovely. Thank you very much, everybody. As always, feel free to get in touch. Always good to hear from you. But enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Bye for now.